Okay, I think we are on now. Hi guys on Facebook. People are popping on and I'm so excited. Happy Monday. Can you believe it? We are now in week 2 of our 21-day challenge. We've made it through a week. You guys have stayed with the challenge. Remember, I really encourage you to make a mental choice to stay for 21 days and to elevate your energy. Now, some of you are having watch parties today. And for those of you who don't know what that is, and you're on that Facebook group, right in the corner, it says host a watch party. And I want to encourage you right now, click on that and invite your friends to come to this because you're going to hear an incredible story today with one of my dear, dear friends. But before I introduce you to our guest today, I want to remind you guys, many of you have asked about the journal, hopping on, lots of you guys are hopping on. Don't forget, we have the Wise Behavior Journal that you can download. We are in week 2 of Wise Behavior: water, intake, supplements, exercise. For 21 days, you establish a habit in 21 days. So this journal walks you through how to give you that point system when you drink your water, when you eat properly, and you take your supplements, and you get your exercise. And don't forget to journal. Journaling is a window to your soul. And as you write your emotions physically, spiritually, you begin to write these things down, you begin to see what's happening internally. And we all know in the midst of this pandemic, in the midst of COVID-19, the uncertainty, there's a lot of emotion, anger, and angst. So a lot of that comes out in your writing. And this just holds you accountable to do that. So I can't stress it enough. Download $19.99 plus. You get all 21 days of our coaching. Now, for those of you visiting with us today for the first time, this interview with Kaitlyn will be up for 24 hours on our Facebook group. So you have access to that. You can go back and watch it. Then it's taken down, and we'll have our next interview tomorrow. But if you want it for 24 hours or you want it forever, a lifetime, then you get that with the $19.99. And then Kaitlyn, okay, first of all, I know you're a fashionista and we're going to hear your story. But look at our shirts, NRG.
What does that say?
Energy.
Oh,
you see the lightning bolt? So I'll be mailing one of these to you. Oh, I didn't put it up high enough. Look at that. See how cute? NRG. So any of you that would like a t-shirt, it's got the 21-day challenge logo on the sleeve, and you want to make sure that you get this, or the gym bag. So anyway, host those parties, guys. The information in this coaching challenge has been so good. And yesterday, it's Sunday, and I know a lot of people were busy, but yesterday I actually brought you, we talked about energy bandits. And there were 8 things that are trying to rob your energy. So if you missed that yesterday, make sure you go back and watch my coaching on that. Well, hey, today's Monday. And today you're getting ready to get a ray of sunshine in your life. One of my dear, dear friends, and I have known her now for over 10 years, Caitlin Crosby. And Kaitlyn, well, you'll always be Caitlin Crosby. Now you're married and you have kids, and you're a full adult now. I mean, you've like really grown up.
So crazy. I know.
It's so good to have you. I think about all the talks we used to have before you were married and just life, right?
And you and Phil gave us premarital counseling.
We did. You're married now and you're doing great, and we're so proud of you. And most of us know you as the Giving Keys, and we know we have them, we get them, we see them in all the department stores and all the high-end boutiques, and we all want to pay it forward, and we've heard the story. But what I want to do in our time today is, everyone listen, we talked about elevating our energy, and we elevate our energy in many ways. Physically, emotionally, spiritually, eating right, drinking our water, getting sleep, speaking life over yourself, starting new businesses, all of these components. But do you know that you can elevate your energy with generosity? Do you know literally there's something about the endorphins within our very soul when we do something for someone else that elevates our energy? And Caitlin Crosby is one of those girls. Ever since I've known her, she has been the most generous, kind, gracious woman with everyone that you're around. And so let's talk about the Giving Keys. And then after that, I want to talk a little bit about some of the other things that you're doing that people might want to know about. But many of you you want to know Caitlyn's story. Let's go back to why the Giving Keys. How did that start?
Yes. So I grew up in Los Angeles, which is pretty rare. And I was doing entertainment and music and acting and touring, and everything I did in entertainment, I always wanted it to be about helping this generation and helping people in some way. And so the songs that I would always write were always about that. Like each song had a different kind of message. And for the actress Brie Larson, we did a movie together, a horrible movie together 100 years ago. And they put us on the movie posters. They cut off our bodies and they glued other people's bodies to our faces. And we're like, oh, thanks. You couldn't even airbrush us. You had to just fully use other people's bodies. So we started a website called Love Your Flaws, all about body image issues. We don't do anything with it now. But I was really passionate about that issue. And so when I was passing through New York on tour, I was wearing the old hotel room key. It was a key that I just put on my necklace. I thought it was cool. And I was at a locksmith one day and the person in front of me got numbers engraved. And I said, oh, do you have letters? Can you engrave Love Your Flaws on this key? And I saw all these old used keys on the side and I said, ooh, while you're at it, can you do hope, love, faith, dream, believe, fearless, let go, prayer, faith, all the words. So I started making them and selling them on tour at the merchandise tables next to my CDs. They started selling out more than my CDs. Then I started encouraging people to pass on their key, pay it forward to someone who needs it more than them. So someone, this life isn't just about us, right? So get a word that you need, yes. But then keep your eyes open. It's like a little homework assignment to keep your eyes open for other people that are hurting, to pass it on to them. And then I knew I wanted the money to go to some sort of charity, and I waited for the missing link for about a year. And I saw this young couple. They were living in a dumpster in a cardboard box. And I fell in love with them, took them to dinner, had my aha moment, and then asked them, the girl said she liked making jewelry. And I said, oh, this is my aha moment. You're the missing link to the Giving Keys. Do you guys want to be my business partner? So then I started paying them to engrave the jewelry, and I started hustling and getting them into stores. And then they started saving up enough money and they got their own a motel room, then their own apartment. And when I met them, they lived in a dumpster in a cardboard box. So, so these keys have changed people's lives, the people that buy them, and then the people that, we have employed to engrave the inspirational words on them.
Okay, one thing we've said on this challenge, everyone, is that you must always have a pen in hand and paper ready, because these are coaching sessions. And you just said something so beautiful, Caitlin, when you said that was my homework assignment. Every time I would wear a key, my homework assignment was to see who needed that word. Mm-hmm. And I was always looking out for who needed it and what my homework assignment was. So that's a good word to take away right now. If you wake up every morning and you say, God, what's my homework assignment today? You'll begin to be more intentional about living as a human being for others. So here you get this couple and you say, do you want to be my business partner? And you got all these keys. And I remember you told me that you used to be out in the alleyways and you're exchanging money and keys, and they're working for you. But at that time you didn't literally have your warehouse or anything yet. You were just kind of doing everything on the side, right?
Oh yeah. Everything was out of my car. Yeah. The back trunk of my car was just filled with my dad's toolboxes and all that.
Which is a beautiful story, because somebody right now has an idea for a business. Remember we talked yesterday, an energy bandit is when you have an idea that you don't execute. And you've had the same great idea for 15 years, and then you get mad when you see someone on Etsy with your idea because you didn't do anything with it. So here's Kaitlyn working out of the back of her trunk, paying homeless people that she's hired, right? Because she saw purpose in them and meaning in them. So then take us then to, I've been able to be in your warehouse in LA. It's amazing. And you've been able to hire many homeless people, not just homeless people, people looking for purpose and meaning. And you have a beautiful, beautiful shop. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, we've been able to employ over 140 people that are trying to transition out of homelessness so far. And speaking of Etsy, really fast, this is a funny story. Since I started the Giving Keys 12 years ago, now there are people on Etsy knocking us off, and they have been for years, but we were the originals.
Yeah.
Speaking of Etsy.
I do know that.
But yeah, so now because of COVID, I mean, it's a whole new world. We were at this last warehouse for 5 years, but our lease was up. And with the mandate to shut down production and manufacturing, our website is still up and we're still selling through a lot of the inventory that we already had made. But we moved into a fulfillment center recently just because we don't know when this mandate is going to lift to allow new production again, but
Right,
we're still
right.
making it work and we're still selling things, but now we're just in a different space. So trying to adapt and kind of follow the, the lead of the law right now,
Yep, yep.
but
Well,
we're
and
keeping our
that's a
mission
good word, because we have to adapt during these times.
alive.
Successful thinkers become successful businesses.
Yeah.
And I've watched you adapt. I've watched the evolution of Kaitlyn with so many things. So what I want to talk about for a moment, just with everyone that's on, let's talk a little bit about generosity.
Yeah.
And what does generosity do for you to elevate your energy? I mean, there's something, I watch you when you're with other people. So it's something innate that comes out of you that makes you smile when you really have done something. So for all of us, when we pay it forward, when we take that necklace off and we give it to someone that needs love or grace or faith or whatever word we have on our key, what do you think that does to you?
Ooh, yeah, it's really true. I was talking to somebody today, and he was talking about do more of what makes you happy in life. And sorry, my dog's barking because the mailman is here. But what makes you come alive, and do more of that. And I remember thinking, and that's now my baby. I have a one.
That's okay, girl. Hey, this is what I love about Zoom. I love it. We get to see your life.
Yes, yeah. But do more of what makes you happy. And I remember thinking to myself, wow, I think that I really do. And I was preparing, for this today with you and this topic of generosity, and thinking that I actually need to bring more of that into my life, because I feel like there is kind of like a lack of energy and joy, because I have been doing less of that. I think because I have been giving so much generosity to my two new kids. So I have like a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. So it's kind of like there's not much in the tank left over at the end. But I think that's hurting my energy, because when I used to be so generous, and I mean, it's called the giving keys. So all I did was give all the time. That was like who I was. And I was, I think, a little bit more filled up and happy and filled with joy when I was living in that zone. But I will say, I think there is a balance there. And I think I was too far the other way. I was like an over giver. I'm a 2 on the Enneagram. And so I think there is that, the pendulum can swing a little bit too far in one direction. And then I had something called compassion fatigue, which is a real thing. Wow. And so the pendulum went the other way. And so I think I've been on this journey of finding what does that look like now when you have 2 kids and in the middle of trying to survive. But yeah, I think generosity is such an important part of life and your days, because I think when you have that human to human one-on-one connection with somebody, and you see that you're really, whatever you're doing has impacted them, whether it's as simple as giving your key word away to them and seeing their eyes light up and their soul, get lifted, and something get lifted off their chest, and that they feel encouraged. I mean, there's really no other joy like that.
There isn't. Well, and I think through this right now, we're lacking both some compassion and some connection through COVID-19. And I understand, let's just be really honest with everyone on, we all understand this is a real disease. We are in a pandemic, a global pandemic. It's real, but it's affecting our minds. And we've become so fearful that, and we want to use wisdom and caution, but I feel like that we've lost human touch. And I've made this comment a few days ago, Kaitlyn, I walk every day, and I walk down the street, and literally people will cross the street. They will even get in the street. They'd rather get hit by a car than pass me on the street. They don't know me, right? So we're missing human connection. So listen, everyone, we're talking about generosity right now, because we have to find a way to continue to be generous. And you just said it so beautifully, Kaitlyn, not just to our family. Many of us with stay-at-home orders. So the people around us might be our family and extended family, maybe a few colleagues, but we've got to figure out a way to have that human connection. And if it simply is and I'm just going to tell you right now, if you don't have a giving key, you need one. And Kaitlyn's been so gracious at the end of our time together. She's going to tell you how you can get a key and get it at a discount just for everyone on our call today. So I'm excited about that. But I've experienced taking my key off and putting it around the neck of someone and literally watching them well up when I said, I think you need faith today.
Mhm.
I think you need joy today, or I see laughter in you today. I think I bought every adjective I can think of, and I'll text Caitlin, I need a word, I need this, I need that. Because when we extend that, I love the Bible, the scripture that says, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. What do you need done unto you? Do you need love? Do you need acceptance? What is it you need? Why don't you give that to someone and you receive it back? And I just believe that's the law of the Bible. God just says, what we sow, we're going to reap. And you've done such a beautiful job with that, Caitlin. So let's talk a little bit more. I want to go back what you just said, because this wasn't on our notes. And I told you we're just going to kind of go live here. Talk to me a little about that compassion. What was that called? You called that?
Compassion fatigue. If you Google it, it's like a real term. People are writing about it and people are doing podcasts about it. I feel like it's becoming like a kind of popular thing, like a newer popular thing to talk about. Because I think this world kind of went through a little bit of a, when the Tom's shoes started, that was like the first one. And then Giving Keys, we were also like right there at the beginning 12 years ago. And then all these other brands and nonprofits really started to become, popular, and giving started to become a trend, and which is great. But I think sometimes, and then so funny how like self-care can also be like a buzzword and like a thing that can maybe go a little too far sometimes as well. But like finding that balance has been difficult. But yeah, for me, compassion fatigue, and I know a lot of my other friends that started nonprofits, like Kim Biddle and I talk about it all the time, who started Saving Innocence, and how, both of us are being in the trenches with people that have traumatic histories and dealing with a lot of mental health, and us trying to, save, help people so much for so many years. It can become like its own form of trauma when you're living in this state of like, extreme helper. So I think, and I wasn't doing any self-care. I wasn't taking care of myself. I wasn't, working out. It was just like emailing and texting and working 24/7. And, I think that's no way to live either, when the pendulum swings a little bit and you're helping all these people. And then sometimes it can become like you're almost like numbing some pain and then not even dealing with reality. Like, no, like you need to help yourself too a little bit. Like I need to, help myself by walking or moving my body or running or eating healthy or going to sleep early, like, all these things. But I think, everyone is so different and everyone is in their different season of life. And I think a lot of people are stuck in not giving, and that's not great either. When you don't live from a generous place and you are doing only self-care and only looking out for yourself, I think you can kind of die a little bit inside too. And your heart gets a little numb and dull because you're not really alive, because I don't think that's like a joyful, energetic way to live either, when you're just like constantly in self-preservation mode. So yeah, I don't know if that answers your question. That's a little bit about
you've said so many things right here. I want to drill in. And again, this was not on our dialogue for today. And I always pray, God, take this call the way it needs to go, because there's people listening that need to hear this. So you talked a lot about extreme helper, that you're just an extreme helper. So what happens with some people, like, I'm a lot like that too. The more I can do for others, the better I feel about myself. So if we're addicted to that feeling of helping others, and possibly that's what you were doing with Giving Keys, it made you feel so good. And generosity is 100% an endorphin rush, because you give and it feels good. So often we might be doing that because we want to feel good, and maybe we're trying to fix something broken in us. So what we've said on this challenge is it's your job to be holistically healthy. We're going to bring you tools and resources and great thought leaders, and you're going to walk away from every one of these and go, hey, she used a term today I've never even heard about, compassion fatigue. I mean, I'm literally exhausted because I've been so compassionate. It's a new term that you might even think about. And the responsibility for self-care. I have a guest on in a few days. We're going to talk about, she, like you, as a musician, and she's given and she's given and she's given, but she didn't take care of herself, and her world fell apart. Her life fell apart. So part of what we do on Elevate Your Energy is to tell you you're responsible for your mind and your body and your soul and your spirit. Time management. how much are you giving? How much are you doing? I got up this morning, just full confession here, and I've gone all week with the challenge, Caitlin. And then yesterday we had a crazy day at church and a bunch of stuff. And then I just thought, oh, I'll host a party last night. So we had a lot of people. I won't say how many. I don't want to get in trouble. But we had a lot of people here. Then I got up this morning. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm tired, because I really didn't practice the self-care I needed. So what I had to do this morning, the smartest thing for me to do, was to sit down and to really, I prayed, I read some Bible, and I just sat out in the sun for about an hour and rested. Do you see, I have to be in control of me. It's not my husband's fault. It's not someone else's fault. That's self-care that I have to be a steward of. And we've talked about this, Caitlin. I mean, with you and your marriage and your children and your business, we can't just blame someone else for where we are. We have to take responsibility for that. So let's take a moment and talk about right now, because we did talk about giving. Now that things have changed a little bit with the giving keys, and because of the pandemic, you can't be doing so much. How are you filling that void in your life right now? You're not going to the office every day. You're not seeing the hundreds of people that you work for, that all the homeless people. How are you filling that void in your life right now with generosity? What are you doing?
Yeah, it's a really, really good question. So right now, I think it's such a different, everyone is in these different seasons. And right now, I feel like I was for so long not giving my little boy the time and attention that he needed, because I was working so much and only doing the generosity thing. And I feel like everything inside of me right now in this season is like, give everything to him. I feel like I almost want to make up for lost time, whether it's read a book about, how to be a good mom, or no drama discipline about doctors, or listen to podcasts. So I really am in that zone, but there are a few programs that I'm a part of, and a few like little charities. It feels weird talking about it because I always want to keep it kind of on the DL. It feels like it doesn't count if I tell people about it. So that's why maybe I feel awkward, but like giving money here or there, even if it's just a little bit, to organizations and teams and little groups that I'm a part of. But yeah, again, it feels weird talking about it just because I try to kind of not, I don't really even want to, because it's not a bragging thing. I think it's
you're a humble person, so it's hard.
A duty to give back.
Yeah.
Even if it's like $2 or whatever, whatever you can do, especially during right now when we're all on major budgets. But I think for me, it really is about praying and taking that time and like, God, purify. I want to have my motives pure in whatever I'm giving and whatever I am doing, whether it's reaching out to a girlfriend, and reaching out to friends or people that you think are hurting, or someone that is maybe on your heart, and, carving out some time to talk with them in some way, or doing the dishes, even if it's not your day, or, whatever it is. I think little things, but for me, it is about purifying my heart, my motives, and like what I don't want to give anymore for A, B, and C reasons, but I want to give from a place of health, and I want to give from a place of health, a place of health and like intention, and that there's a reason behind it. Yeah, that makes sense.
Kaitlyn, you said something, and everybody listen up, because you're talking about from a pure heart.
Yes, that's what I mean. That's what I'm going for. That was actually what I was trying to say. That word, pure heart.
And so you started the Giving Keys with a pure heart. I remember the story, and you're on the 405 and you see the couple, and next thing and then the pure heart. And listen, everyone, what happens is it's so easy to either become commercialized or duty or responsibility. And then it's a burden, and then it's not fun anymore. And then you're just burnt out. So what we're trying to tell you right now is you have to find healthy ways from a pure heart to be generous. And Kaitlyn, you just mentioned several. So if you guys are taking your notes, listen, here's how you can elevate your energy with generosity is, yes, financially give. And there's so many ways we can give right now. I'm really into what's happening with human trafficking. And my heart breaks for what's happening even in our own country with human trafficking. So for me to be able to financially support someone, and of course, Kim Biddle and what she does, and many people we know, so we can financially give. But you just said another big give is to give of your time.
Yeah.
You give of your time to sit down and listen to someone. Ask someone how they're doing and let them just tell you without any judgment or criticism or even trying to give them advice, right? That's a gift and generosity to just during this season listen. Or like you said, helping, just helping someone around the house. So do you know what that does? Listen to me. That raises the endorphins in your body. You're not going at it going, all right, I'm going to help you because I need to feel good today. You're doing it out of what we said, a pure heart, and you get the benefit of elevating your energy because you've extended love and grace and goodness from a good heart to others. And that's why I wanted Kaitlyn on for this topic, is I want you to see how this incredible business that has gone across the globe to change lives and started with a passion of generosity and then almost can become almost methodical if you don't watch over it and make sure that what your motives are good, healthy motives. So in our last few moments, I asked Kaitlyn, all of our guests that come on, to give us a few coaching tips at our end time together. And can you just walk us through maybe 2 or 3 things that you would say to us on generosity, coaching tips or strategies that you want to leave us with?
Yes, for sure. Number one, I wanted to share my favorite quote, which is from Mother Teresa, which is, don't wait for leaders, do it alone, person to person. I think they all all the 3 tips all kind of like go together, which is like, it really does. They all have the theme of pure heart. Like, don't wait for leaders, meaning it doesn't necessarily have to be a huge organization, like giving back, like I give this % to this thing and then everyone's going to see it, or I'm going to post about it or whatever. Person to person, it can just be the person at the grocery store. It could be the person, the checkout, who's checking out, your items or helping you bag your groceries, and they look sad and depressed, and it's about person to person, like yeah. And I would say that the second one I wanted to say is recognizing our humanity, which is going back to the first thing, person to person. Like, just think about all of us as hurting people. There's that I mean, not everyone's hurting all the time, but there's that quote, like there's some quote about, everyone's fighting their own battle. Like you would be more kind to everyone if you knew the battles that everyone was fighting, something like that. Yeah. But I think like recognizing the humanity in everyone, that everyone might be going through something, and to, be intentional about looking to see that look in someone's eyes and how you could show up for them. And maybe it's as simple as a smile or a, how are you doing? Like at the person at the grocery store. Yeah. And then the third thing I would say is to find the balance to recharge, that when you give, that's incredible and it's such an important part of life, but I think also to give to your own heart and give back to yourself too, and remind yourself what you need too. So I think 1 and 2 is like, pure heart, person to person, don't wait for leaders, do it alone, person to person. 2, humanity, really care, like challenge yourself, let your heart break for humanity, let your heart break for, and that's like a prayer that I've always prayed my whole life. God, I want to feel what you feel for people, break my heart for what breaks yours. Like, think of every single person that you see in your life, whether you're passing them or someone on your phone, scroll through, someone you're following on social media, DM them and reach out to them like, hey, how are you doing, with not expecting anything in return. I think that's a big thing too that I'll add. I don't know if that'll be A or B of number 1 or number 2, but like, I think that's a big part of point 1 and 2, to not expect anything in return, because 1 and 2, it's not about you. Number 3 can be a little bit about you. Be generous to yourself, be kind to yourself, give yourself grace on this journey, because you're a human too.
Wow, I just had chills. I have chills. And the reason this is so important is because I've known you and you've given so much to others. And it wasn't until you were exhausted that you realized that you are human too.
Yeah, I actually just wrote a book, and I forget the chapter, but there's a chapter called Girl Boss in the ER.
Yeah.
And that whole chapter is about that. It's about, you know, everyone thinks it's so great to be a CEO and own your own company. And yeah, you can make your own hours, blah, blah, blah. But the whole chapter talks about girl boss in the ER, from like the stress pains I was having in my heart and always feeling that I was about to have a heart attack. Yeah. From literally heart attack from the stress of overgiving. So that's why I have to add number 3 in.
Yeah. Well, you and I talked so much about this, and I can't believe our time is up. I told you 30 minutes would go fast, but it's a great balance, and it's a two-edged sword, and it's two sides of the coin. Love others and humanity, and value and respect yourself. So guys, it's been an amazing challenge today. Many of you I know are part of the VIP package. So we're going to jump back on another Zoom call right now. We're going to all get off. Kaitlyn's going to jump back on with all of our special guests for just a short little Q&A time. But guys, listen really quickly. Tomorrow is my special guest is my son, Josh Hotzenpiller. And I know a lot of you guys know Josh, and he's like a world changer. And he's going to give you some great tips on business. If you have a business idea, he's going to help you know how to execute that. So if you know anybody that's struggling with a business idea, invite them on the call tomorrow. And guys, listen, take time today to be generous to others and generous to yourself. Elevate your energy. Have a fantastic day. And I'll look forward to seeing you guys again tomorrow at 12 o'clock, Facebook Live or our Zoom room. Love you. Have a great day. Kaitlyn, thank you so much. Can everybody just thumbs up to Kaitlyn and some kisses and hugs? Oh, wait, where are we going to get the key? Tell them about the key.
Okay. Well, yeah, someone wrote, what is your book title? So I put that, but should I put the code in the chat here for everyone?
Yes, okay. Thank you. Don't get off, everybody.
If you guys want, yeah, we're doing 25% off for all you guys. Only Tammy's cool people here that are signed up for everything she's doing. So the code, if you go to thegivingkeys.com, at checkout, you just write in big letters, friends25. So you get 25% off. I'll write it here.
Okay, and Rachel's on as well. Rachel, friends25. And can you put the link in there right now as well, Rachel? And that's givingkeys.com, is that correct?
Yes.
Are you putting it in there? Okay, cool. So everybody, hey, pay it forward. Get a key for someone today. Get a couple keys. Get yourself one. And then think, who is it I'm supposed to? And what I love about this, and I know our time's up, let me just say this. Kaitlyn always taught me, you wear the key until you know God wants you to give it to someone. And when that happens, then you take it off and you pay it forward and you give that key away. Yeah. So that's why it's called Pay It Forward.
You can custom any words you want or scriptures, or we just launched these together keys to remind us, you know, we're all in this together, and let's think about that, whether it's wearing a mask or thinking about what other your neighbors are going through right now, or your elderly neighbors that have, you know, health issues, and what you can do to serve them, whether it's buying them some toilet paper or whatever, or giving them a key. There's plenty of opportunities to give there. So thank you guys so much for checking out thegivingkeys.com.
Givingkeys.com. Hey, everybody, shout out. And listen, you got to hear Kaitlyn's story. It's amazing. Okay, those of us going now on Zoom room call with her, you have the chance to actually ask her some personal questions. So I'll see you guys tomorrow, 12 o'clock. Have a great day. Bye.
Thank you, Tammy.
Thanks so much, Kaitlyn. See you in a second on the other line.